When Heather was in college, she was robbed by a young man who threatened her with a knife. It was an unexpected and frightening experience. This event occurred just about dusk, and for a long time thereafter, she often experienced moments of dread in the late afternoons. The conditioned response is. All right, I always find it easier to just identify all of them if you've got a piece of paper in front of you, and if you were doing an exam, you would obviously write these off to the side. All right, so Heather was in college. She was robbed by a man who threatened her with a knife. Okay, so this man threatened her with a knife. That's a pretty big thing. Okay, that is going to elicit a response in you. And that response is going to be unlearned. All right, we know that. Okay, we don't need to learn the response of fear and frighten. All right, the event occurred just after dusk. For a long time thereafter, she experienced moments of dread in the afternoons. Okay, so eventually she's now dreading dusk. Dusk should have been a neutral stimulus. It's something that shouldn't elicit that response of frighten, dread, fear. Okay, so we know dusk is our neutral stimulus. We can pop that down. Dusk or afternoon or timing or whatever. All right, we know that our neutral stimulus is the same as our conditioned stimulus. So we just fill that in straight away. Dusk. Okay, they are the same. The unconditioned stimulus is the thing that we haven't learnt. Okay, we haven't learnt to be afraid of somebody with a knife. It's just happening. That is an involuntary response. Okay, so being threatened with a knife, okay, or being attacked, whatever that is our unconditioned attacked by a man with a knife, whatever, or robbery. We could even put robbery. Okay, we know that's quite scary, obviously. That's going to elicit that involuntary response of frightened fear. Okay, fear. Now we know that our unconditioned response is always the same as our conditioned response. There is only one thing that is changing between them, and that's where the fear or the response is coming from. Our unconditioned is unlearned in involuntary, okay? Of course we are going to be scared when somebody robs us with a knife. So this is fear due to being robbed with a knife or whatever, okay, the situation is. So unconditioned response is coming from our unconditioned stimulus. Now, during conditioning, these two things are paired, our conditioned stimulus, the dusk, and our unconditioned stimulus. Or even more so, our neutral stimulus is paired with our unconditioned stimulus. Okay, those two things are paired, and therefore it leads to us having a fear response due to the time of day being dusk. Okay, so we are now conditioned to have this response during dusk time. Okay, so the only things that is changing between our two responses are what we are afraid of, what we are having that response to. Unconditioned response, we are having that response to our unconditioned stimulus. Our conditioned response, we are having that response to our conditioned stimulus, something that we have learnt. All right, and that's through the pairing of our neutral stimulus and our unconditioned stimulus.